Okay, I think we are live. Um, we'll go ahead and wait for some people, but that was an amazing game from the Lakers to come back down 2023, 25 points in the fourth quarter. Um, that was one heck of a game, I mean, I can't even complain. Even if the Lakers hadn't come back in the fourth quarter and they had lost by 20, I still would have been okay because there's so many things that I saw from that game that I'm like, you know what? The Lakers are starting to look better. They're starting to get some of their players back from COVID, from injuries, right? And once we do get them back, I do believe that this team will eventually start winning games. So I do believe the Lakers are headed in the right direction. And I'm gonna give it a sec, wait for some people to come in because I know there's still some people uh, gonna be joining in a sec, but we'll go ahead and man, we'll go ahead and start it. Gigi said, dude, this was your game to win, no KD. Yeah, I mean, looking at it on paper, we should have won. But considering that we had lost four in a row prior, it was hard. It was hard, and we're down 2023. We had no business coming back in this game. But you're right about that. It was our game for the taking if we wanted it that badly. But I'm not upset. I am definitely not upset. This was a fantastic game. Patty Mills went off. Claxton had his moments. James Harden had his moments. When Kevin Durant's out and Patty Mills goes for like 31, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean KD being out doesn't really miss that much. Stanley Johnson is clamped. Sign him to a 1-year deal. Completely agree with you, Albert. I love Stanley Johnson. He's a guy that's not going to put up the stats. He's a guy that's not going to put up great offensive numbers, but what he does is provide energy, hustle, grit, defense, and energy. And that's the kind of player that he is. I mean, he is exactly what the Lakers need right now. And it makes sense because if you think about a player like Stanley Johnson, I think any player could use a player like Stanley Johnson. So Gigi said Bulls should have kept Stanley Johnson. I mean, Stanley Johnson's one of those guys that like I mentioned, any team could use a Stanley Johnson. Doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how bad you are. I think we'll be fine. Like I mentioned before, I'll go ahead and wait for some people to join in, go from there. And I don't know exactly how long I plan on streaming today, guys. Obviously, since today is Christmas, um, I know I usually do 2 hours or an hour and a half. I might shorten it this time around, but we'll play it by ear. Obviously, it was a big game. It was a very important game for both teams. But for the Lakers to do what they did, uh, this was probably the most. This was probably the best loss the Lakers had all year long. And it's gonna be weird saying that, but I'm probably gonna say like when the year finishes, you're gonna look back and be like, you know what? That was a good loss. Because either this is going to do one of two things. Either we're going to take this as motivation and go on a win streak, or we're just, going to keep playing bad. But I don't think we're going to keep playing bad because we're getting our players back. And that's what's important. I believe our roster is good enough to win the championship. I've said that multiple times. My only thing was we need to stay healthy. Uh, obviously COVID is here, but we can't get injured. Beginning of the season, we signed SJ, but we let go to keep Matt Thomas. But then all of our players were out because of COVID. We signed him to Dende, but the day he got there, he got COVID. Yeah, he did. So that's just unfortunate. These kind of things, COVID is ruining a lot of things, right? But I mean, the Bulls are fine. The Bulls are honestly fine with or without Stanley Johnson, but he would definitely be a great fit on the Bulls. But I really hope the Lakers do. I hope the Lakers do. I hope they do re-sign Stanley Johnson because he is a fantastic player. And you know what he kind of reminds me of? Like a couple seasons ago when LeBron's first year, Damian Jones. Second year, Damian Jones. I thought he was a great fit. We do need him more. That kind of player. I think he could play consistent minutes. I think people just get caught up in the hype that LeBron needs just shooters. But I disagree with that. I think regardless of if he's a good shooter or not. I think he's a great fit on the Lakers, like you're saying, GG. It's like that kind of player could be utilized by any team, regardless of what their identity is, regardless of what play style they have. This Laker team needs a player like Stanley Johnson, and I mean, they'll be just fine. The Lakers are going to be just fine. Albert says takeaways. A really good fourth quarter, horrible shooting night, especially in the third quarter. Should have done more backdoor cuts in the third, fourth quarter. Completely agree with you, Albert. But let me ask you this: This is something the Nets did defensively because we saw a lot of cuts, a lot of screen and rolls for LeBron being the roller in the second quarter. Do you think the Nets maybe perhaps did something in halftime to adjust defensively to that, to prevent that from happening, which lessen the amount of times the Lakers were able to do that in the third? Or do you think the Lakers were just not sticking to their game plan like they should have? Because that's the thing. Like, I don't think the Nets are good defensively. I just think that, I mean, adjustments can be made regardless if you're good or bad defensively. But that was one of the things they had great success with. It's that they literally, LeBron was rolling to the basket and he was getting the most easy baskets I've ever seen. So yeah, Gigi said I only caught the fourth quarter of tonight's game, so I don't know what happened in the first three. Well, first quarter, the Lakers played like garbage. Defensively, they were not making the rotations. Offensively, it was not consistent. Second quarter was much better, right? That's when we made a comeback. That's when we narrowed the lead down to like 6 points. Third quarter was more so the same until like the later end of the third. That's when the Nets just popped off. And then in the fourth quarter, you obviously saw Gigi like down 23 points and to come back and really just to just compete the way we did. I mean, that's all I could appreciate for this Laker team. I mean, the things that they have gone through, with COVID and injuries and all these losses that they have had in a row. I think this is something they needed. Either a player like Stanley Johnson or just the ability to compete with a team like the Nets. And I know the Nets also are affected by COVID protocols and all this other stuff going on with the Nets, but they're still first in the East for a reason. They have a fantastic team outside of Kevin Durant. So I'm glad that we're able to compete with a team like the Nets because Patty Mills has been having a fantastic season. Claxton, great season. James Harden, he did have a good game, right? But I really think James Harden found his mojo in the game. And we played defense when it mattered most. So once we developed that consistency, I mean, we were developing consistency. But it's all about, can we stay healthy? Can our players not become enter COVID protocols? Because I mean, that's just we just can't have that. When you're trying to build something special, you need consistency in order to be great, right? So yeah. Gigi said Bulls needed that Nets loss. Yeah. Romario said, listen, Russ is an all-time great player. He just doesn't fit with us. I disagree with you on that. I think Russ has shown that he has been able to fit with us in a lot of games this year. He's only had a few bad games with us this season. And just because he had a bad Christmas game, it doesn't mean that he has the inability to fit with us. Really, I think our potential is greater with Russ as opposed to someone like Buddy Hield. Russ is someone who can take away that ball handling duties away from LeBron or at least lessen it. But he didn't have a great game, and that's okay. I mean, Russ did some other things that kind of kept us in it, right? Getting second chance points, getting offensive rebounds, those small things that don't get highlighted as much. So I don't think it's Russ is the reason why we lost this game. I mean, ultimately it was an uphill battle to begin with, right? It was an uphill battle to begin with because we didn't play defense and we went down 23 points. It's just hard to win a game when you're down that many points. But ultimately we did have a chance to win the game and we just could not, we just couldn't come away with the win. I mean, that's okay. But the way the Lakers came back, you can't complain. Sonny said he put Harden in jail. Yeah, Stanley Johnson is one of those defenders, man. I mean, yeah. Gigi said, it's good to see you optimistic about the Lakers once you haven't been the last few games. We told you guys you guys will be good. See, here's the thing, Gigi. I said, my thing was, I think we need to be healthy. I think we need to just, we just need to get that consistency going. And I said, if we do get that consistency going, I do believe we have a roster capable of winning the chip. So we just have to wait and see. James said he was 4 of 20. How are you saying it's not Russ's fault? Because it's so much more than just one player's fault, James. I mean, if you watch the game, then you know the team's defense overall was pretty pathetic for the most part. Yes, they did have their spurts of, defensive intensity, locking up James Harden. But overall, I mean, when you give up the points that you did, I mean, the chances of you winning that game is pretty slim. They were down 20, 23 points, and I know Russ shot 4 of 20. And that's not good. I'm not saying that it's not his fault. Some of it is Russ's fault. But to say either to trade Russ or that all of it is Russ's fault, I think that's a little unfair towards Russ, because I do believe that he did do those little things like hustling, like those offensive rebounds that he got for us, and we made a 3 after that, whatever the case is. I'm just saying that Russ is not the only player to blame. Yeah. Bron didn't get dunked on. He threw the ball in. Yeah. Sonny said 5 straight losses is a little bit hard, though. That's true. I mean, 5 losses, it's not something that you want to it's not something that you should be proud of. But, given what this team has been through, right? 5 losses is understandable for the players that they had that went through COVID protocols, for the injuries like AD, and the teams that they've had to play. I mean, they've been playing really good quality teams. It's not like they're playing the Magic 5 times and they've lost those 5 games. It's nothing like that. So I think this Laker team will move forward. I think they feel good about what happened. It's so hard to get energy and just optimism when you're losing games. But I think a player like Stanley Johnson will bring that kind of positive energy back into the locker room. They have something to take away from the game. It's not like they lost the game and they didn't. The reason why I was pissed off in these past few games was because ultimately I saw that the Lakers were not putting in effort and they're getting blown out because of it. So I'm like, okay, it's one thing to lose, but it's another thing to not put in effort. But at least the Lakers put in effort. They tried, and they're so close to winning. And just because they didn't, I'm not going to be mad at them for it. They've overcome so much adversity, and I'm not going to hold that against them for having this huge comeback. So yeah. Bush King said there's no more excuses, nothing to say. No KD, no more excuses. This team stopped playing defense at the end, no gas to finish strong. It's all about how this Laker team will, like I mentioned before, it's about availability. If this team is healthy, then I think they can do some great things this season. But that's a big if, because ultimately all the title contenders need to stay healthy. And that's a huge reason why the Suns made the finals last year, is because they were healthy. Other teams were not, right? I mean, we saw the Lakers. They were not healthy. The Suns beat them. Then they beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets were not healthy. Then they beat the Clippers, and the Clippers weren't healthy. So really, in the finals, you saw the 2 most healthy teams, the Suns and the Bucks. So it is about who's most healthy and who has the best chemistry going. Sonny said, I feel people always highlight the other team when they beat the Lakers. The Nets are well rested, and Patty Mills went nuclear on us. We don't have our core pieces healthy. AD, Ariza, none, Reeves. And you know something, though? That's true. I mean, Patty Mills is a fantastic player. He's been playing great this season. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, we didn't have this, we didn't have this. I didn't expect us to win this game, really. And when you lose 4 in a row and the way that you did with little to no effort, to come out and compete with the Nets the way they did in the fourth quarter with that massive comeback, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty content with how they played. I know they didn't have KD, but we didn't have players either, and we went on an awesome run today. Yep, awesome run today. I mean, really, that's what this Laker team is capable of. I mean, we talk about the potential with players like Russ and LeBron, and I like the Stanley Johnson pickup. I mean, this team has the potential to be something special, but it's all about getting consistency. And they did have that consistency before COVID hit them, before AD got injured, right? So, I'm optimistic for the Lakers moving forward. We just gotta wait and see. Hopefully they don't get hurt. Hopefully there are no more COVID cases, because when we had that game winner against Dallas, right? Austin Reeves, COVID protocol, all these players begin COVID protocol. We're 16-13, then we lose 5 in a row. So really, it's all about the consistency that I've been talking about. Gigi says, I would say the Nets vs. Lakers and Warriors vs. Suns were the best Christmas games. 100% agree with you. James O says that was with LeBron on the floor, though. I don't think he can keep up at this age. Perhaps. Bush King says Bulls had 9 players out, still second in the East, and other teams' lesser quality players not playing bad. See, that's the one thing though. When the Lakers were losing 5 straight, right? My thing with the Lakers was, where is the effort? Because they were not trying. They literally were not trying. So, uh, you know, I do think that if the Lakers can keep playing the way they have been, they'll be fine. I'm not concerned. The only reason why I've been mad, Bush, is because they haven't been playing with effort. Right? We saw that game against Minnesota, little to no effort. The game against Chicago, right? We tried. It was pretty close, but we just didn't win. And then a couple of other games, we just did not have any effort. So there's a difference between the Bulls and the Lakers, but ultimately, I do believe the Lakers are back. I do believe that they're getting some of their mojo back. Slowly but surely, we're going to see it. Sonny says this Laker teams need to be full for us to be good. That's the problem with the roster construction. 100% agree. I don't think this roster is bad. People be criticizing Rob Pelinka for constructing this team together. But ultimately, I'm pretty sure LeBron approved in terms of who he was going to sign. And if LeBron hadn't felt good about this team, then he would have told something to Rob. But this team has so much potential. And that's the one thing that you cannot hold against Rob Pelinka. It's not his fault that players are getting COVID. Okay? The way AD got injured, you can't blame Rob Pelinka for that. So I do believe that this team has the capabilities of being really good. Just give them time. Give them time. I mean, LeBron's first year with Cleveland, they started 23-23. So why are we trying to hold that against Rob Pelinka and the rest of the Lakers? I mean, it's such a new team. You look at the whole Lakers team, the roster turnover, right? They probably had the most roster turnover in the league within the past couple of years. So you got to give this Laker team some time. You can't just sit there and keep blaming people, trade this person, trade that person, fire Frank Vogel. People keep saying fire Frank Vogel. We're 0-4 with David Fizdale. So does that mean we got to fire David Fizdale now? Please. I mean, stop blaming these people and actually understand that they're in a tough situation. They're going through so much adversity, and it's going to take time. Great things take time. So please, I'm not going to say trust the process because that's a 76ers garbage motto. But seriously, just relax. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Let's see what y'all got. What y'all think? I mean, I already gave my thoughts on the Laker game. What are you guys thinking? And there are plenty of other games that happened today on Christmas Day. So go ahead and comment down below what you guys are thinking about that. James O says, I agree. Cool. Hey, James, I know Russ didn't necessarily have the greatest game, but I think this team will be fine. And I agree with you. Time is ticking for LeBron. But there are ways to load manage LeBron in games and have him be effective throughout the game. So you are right about the time's ticking because he's 37 and we've seen some cracks, right? We've seen some cracks. But ultimately, the biggest problem for this Laker team is that they have not been able to develop consistency because of the COVID cases, because of the injuries. So, yeah. Life is for the living. 20 says, if I'm LeBron with the running emoji, are you trying to imply that he should leave the Lakers? Gigi says, Knicks beat a Hawks team with no Trae Young and G League players. I'm feeling really cocky about it. To be honest, who cares about the Knicks? Honestly, I didn't really care for that Christmas game. I think people are more focused on the Suns and Warriors. Even the Lakers Nets, because regardless of how poorly the Lakers have been looking, Lakers Nets is always prime time, regardless of whatever you guys want to say. So yeah, I mean, great Christmas games. And now I think the Mavericks and Jazz are going on, but to be honest with you, I don't care about that one either, because isn't Luka in protocol? Is Luka Doncic not in protocol right now? Because if he is, then there's literally no point watching that game. The Jazz are the significantly better team, even if Luka was playing for them right now. But if you don't have Luka, you might as well just. I know Jalen Brunson is a really solid player, but come on now, let's be honest. You think he is? Okay. Life is for the living 20. Yes, they are atrocious. It's not about consistency. They have the offense, but LeBron and defense is all about effort. No one plays defense. This team isn't getting any better. I do agree with you with the part that the defense is about effort. And it's really, really hard to put in effort when nothing has been going right for you all season long. The Lakers already go through adversity in the beginning of the season with Kendrick Nunn and THT and Ariza being out. But when you start winning games, you win your last 6 of 8, right? And then you lose players like Austin Reeves and AD and more players, Dwight, Avery Bradley. I mean, it really just kills all the momentum the Lakers had going for them. And now they're back from step one because they have to redevelop that consistency. And I disagree with you when you say this team isn't going to get any better because this is not the Lakers at its best. The Lakers at its best is when they will be fully consistent, when they will be fully healthy. They haven't reached their peak yet. Life is for the living 20. That's why I disagree with you when you say this team isn't going to get any better. Because ultimately, I think we've seen the worst of the Lakers. We have definitely seen the worst of the Lakers with all these players out, with all these players being out because of injuries and COVID. How can it get any worse is my thing. It can only get better before it gets worse. Gigi says the Mavs are up 24-11. Okay. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the game ends, but I mean, to be honest though, like I know we made a point like this earlier, Gigi. Like, why are the Mavericks on Christmas Day? Why are the Jazz on Christmas Day? Like, you think of, I get it. The Jazz were the number 1 seed in the West last year, and the Mavericks obviously have Luka Doncic, but I don't care about that matchup. I really don't. In fact, probably plenty of people don't, except for Jazz and Maverick fans. So I'm not. I don't really pay attention too much to that kind of game. Overall, that doesn't show any implications of what could possibly happen this year because ultimately, I believe those teams aren't going to really do much in this season. The Jazz are going to continue having a good regular season record, but what are they going to do in the playoffs? And the Mavericks, as far as I'm concerned, it's Luka, Porzingis, and maybe a couple other players, but it's the same story. I mean, I feel like the Mavericks are missing something, maybe a small forward or something of that sort. Porzingis, he's not necessarily someone you can rely on as a second star to Luka. So it's the same story for the Mavericks, same story for the Jazz. I don't really care. I don't really care. Anything y'all else have to say? I mean, there's 14 people in the stream. We're only getting like comments from Gigi and stuff like that. I don't know what you just said, Sachin. I don't know what that means. Life is for the living 20 says trade Russ or cut him. I've seen enough, and I'm a Russ fan. It's addition by subtraction. He always makes an untimely mistake. So you talk about his mistakes, but did you see the things that he did to help start this run? It's the little things that don't show in the stats. So I hope that you're actually watching the games and not just looking at the box score and saying, oh, look, he shot 4 of 20. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, sometimes Russ does make timely mistakes, but, I can't hold that against him and say he's the only reason why we lost this game. Put that against the defense. Put that against the Lakers allowing 40 points in the first quarter. Put that against the Lakers allowing that many points to the Nets without KD and the rest of the players, with that. So, yeah, the run happened when he was on the bench. Yeah, but, when we were down 6 or 3 points, right, in that fourth quarter, I'm talking about offensive rebounds, having that ability to enable second chance points. He was that player that was making that happen. Is energy on the box score? Is hustle on the box score? I mean, yes, he didn't have a great game. I'm not saying he had a great game, but I'm talking about there are so many games that Russ has played extremely well in, but I'm not hearing that from you guys. All I keep hearing is, oh, Russ is bad. Russ is this. Trade Russ. No, you don't do that. Sachin says, bro, Russ, THT for Simmons. See, this is one thing, man. Simmons hasn't played basketball in how long now? That's a horrible deal. Horrible. Daniel says, how about the Nuggets? Can they make a push after the All-Star break? Daniel, it all depends on how Jamal Murray comes back, right? I mean, that's my belief. If Jamal Murray can come back 100% healthy and play at an All-Star level, then yes, they can make a push. But I don't know. I mean, the Nuggets have been struggling. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It all depends on Jamal Murray, though. I don't know exactly what his timeline is. Like Gigi's saying, I don't recall. But that does depend on it, and it does depend on his level of play. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, anything else y'all got? Like I mentioned before, I don't know how long I'm gonna make this stream. It is Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to y'all. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's already been 25 minutes. Certainly has not felt like it, especially talking about basketball and stuff like that. I know there's some football stuff going on, but yeah. Yes, rebounds are on the stat sheet. He was a minus 24. That's bad. Anyone with eyes can see he's not helping. See, life of the living 20. All you keep on talking about is Russ's flaws. I haven't heard you say one good thing about Russ. And unfortunately, the negatives are always going to hold more it's going to hold more significance, I guess you would say, in social media or whatever the case is than the positive things he does for the team. So I don't like how you haven't pointed out anything that Russ has done well for the Lakers this season, as opposed to the turnovers or the shooting or the plus minus. I never said Russ played well today, but what I'm saying is that he's been playing well for the most part this entire season. And if you're gonna sit me here and trade Russ, or tell me that you're gonna trade Russ and THT for Simmons, I mean, that's the thing, dude. What you talk about Ben Simmons, dude? He hasn't played in months. We already know he can't shoot. I mean, at least Russ has somewhat of a mid-range. He's aggressive. He'll play. He'll play hard. Simmons is so unproven. So I don't like that idea. And then you're talking about trading THT away as well. Like, at least THT is playing. Ben Simmons isn't even playing. So why would you give up 2 point guards for 1 point guard? It doesn't make any sense. And you have to also think about it from a money perspective as well. Does the money work for both sides? But ultimately, it's not even about the money in this case. It just logically, it really doesn't make any sense for the Lakers to make that trade. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. What do you guys think? Like, I mean, you guys are seeing the comments from people saying that the Lakers should trade Russ and THT for Ben Simmons. Who here in the chat thinks that should happen? Or let me know what your guys' thoughts are, because I ultimately believe that is not a move the Lakers should make. I'll go ahead and wait for your guys' response on that. I just think it's hard. It's unfair to judge this team, these players, when they can't even play as a team, because literally they're physically not allowed to play as a team. So honestly, do you think if Ben Simmons had been playing for the Lakers would be in a better spot right now? Because I don't think so. Defense bad, turnover bad. If you have 10 assists and 7 turnovers, they cancel out. He can't shoot, doesn't play or play well off the ball. Have you watched Russ play his entire career? I have watched Russ play his entire career. Did you see him last year when he played for the Wizards? When he took that team to the playoffs? And he says he doesn't play well off the ball. He's a great slasher, especially when LeBron is holding on to the ball, or even Rondo. He's a great slasher. So I disagree with you when you say he doesn't play well off the ball. In terms of when you say he can't shoot, he can't shoot well from the 3-point line. That's never been his game, but he's been a great mid-range shooter off the pick and roll, the pick and pop. That's been Russ's kind of game. His mid-range, his ability to slash to the rim with or without the ball. So yes, I have watched Russ in his career. So, I'm starting to doubt how much you know about Russ when you say he can't play well off the ball or he can't shoot at all, because he does have that ability to shoot the mid-range. In fact, you don't even have to take my word for it. You could just look at the stats and you can see that he is one of the better mid-range percentages in the league. I know I did this the other stream, but let me go ahead. I will I'm going to attach the link to the Discord page that I started up a couple streams ago, or last stream. Basically, I mean, we're just talking basketball in there, man. I mean, it's like we are just talking basketball, and That's ultimately what this Discord is about because I'm simply not, being able to communicate with you guys on that level until we get in that Discord. So if you guys want, go ahead and join that. I put the Discord link in the comment section. Feel free to join that Discord. I mean, we're just talking basketball whenever. I mean, it could be about anything, just talking with, even if you guys are subscribed or not, I mean, just talking with you guys about things that we love the most. It's always a good time. So, yeah, I mean, Gigi, what's up? I mean, you said in the Discord earlier you have a lot of questions. So let's hear them. Let's hear them what the questions are. Give your thoughts on anything that's going on. Um and we can go from there. Let's see here. I don't think this Laker team is too concerned, by the way. You hear it from them. They're not too concerned. The most important thing is to stick together. And one of the biggest issue life is for the living 20 is when people suggest to trade a player because their record is not what you want it to be at or whatever the case is. It takes time for great things to happen. I wonder what people would have said when the Heat, if social media was this big, and when the Heat started 11-11, whatever the case was, um, I wonder what people would have said. Well, trade Dwayne Wade, trade Chris Bosh. Oh, Gigi says that wasn't me. I haven't made my new account yet. I've been busy with the holidays. We'll get on tomorrow. Never mind. I got you mixed up with Albert, I think. I think that's what. Because you two have been commenting the most on my streams. I think he was the one who joined the Discord. Um, yeah, that's probably it. I probably got confused. That's my bad. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's time to look at what the players are saying, what the Lakers are saying about the game. Overall, that was a really good effort. So I'm not even. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is uh, this is why Twitter's toxic. Talking about trading Westbrook and stuff. I don't like that. But come on, there are 8 people on the stream. Come on, let's go with let's get some comments in here. Daniel 210 says, "How you feeling about AD? He got to go with Russ." No, 100% disagree with you, Daniel. You know, when you think about trading a star, you got to get really, really, really good value back. And looking at it from a logical point of view, um, you can't just you can't just trade away stars because you're probably going to get lesser value. If you're not going to win a championship by trading those two away, then whatever. Life is for the living 20 says you're not talking to a casual. Russ isn't even in the top 100 shooting percentage. His defensive rating is atrocious. I just looked up the numbers and they're all pretty bad. Leads the league in turnovers by 20. Yeah, I mean, when you get Russ, you're gonna get like 4 to 5 turnovers per game. Um, but the stats don't tell the whole story. And that's what I've always believed in. That's why I always stuck by. An example of stats not telling the whole story is when they're talking about the Lakers being ranked 13th in defensive efficiency, being ranked above average on defense. But the fact of the matter is that they are probably one of the worst defensive teams in the league if you watch the games. So I'm not buying that they're ranked 13th in defensive efficiency. So when you talk about, oh, Russ isn't even in top 100 true shooting percentage, all this other stuff, I mean, yeah, those are numbers, but there's only so much that you can go off of based off just numbers. So that's when I look at a player, I look at the game and the stats, not just the stats. So I don't think trading Russ is going to be uh, the solution here for the Lakers. Gigi says, "You think Twitter is bad after a loss? Have you seen the community section on Bleacher Report when someone's team loses? They act like it's the end of the world. That's the thing. I have not, by the way, and I don't plan on going on there because when your team loses, it's like everyone all of a sudden becomes a GM. They become a GM and they suggest, oh, we need to trade this guy. We need to trade this guy. We need to trade this guy. If LeBron wants Russell Westbrook traded, he will go to Rob Pelinka and say that. But I am 100% sure that he does not want Russell Westbrook traded. There's just too much potential for this team, and they haven't been given a fair chance yet this season. So we'll see. But I don't think it's going to happen. I know everyone on Twitter is going off on Russ and stuff like that. Yeah, one bad game, and they go off on Russ, acting like he's played trash all season long or something. I mean, come on, guys. And life is for the living 20. Are you a Laker fan or what? I'm just out of curiosity. I'm curious to know what your fandom is. Gigi says, when the Bulls lose a game, they blame Vucevic. I do see that. They do blame Vucevic, and they say, oh, Vucevic just needs to be Vucevic and stuff like that. And yeah, Vucevic does get the criticism. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's just see, this is what I'm talking about, Gigi. Life is for the living 20. LeBron fan. I mean, it's just a tendency that I see from LeBron fans. Not holding that against you, life is for the living 20, but all the LeBron fans want his teammates traded if they don't perform well sometimes. That's literally what it is. AD won a championship with LeBron, all of a sudden gets injured twice. Oh, trade AD. Russ, for the most part, has been having a good year, has some bad games, trade Russ. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a tendency from LeBron fans, and this is why a lot of people don't like LeBron fans. You know, who are LeBron fans to suggest to the Lakers that they should trade players when they just started watching LeBron and the Lakers? Hey, that's just not fair. That is just not fair. Not holding that against you, life is for the living, but, the reason why I asked you is because I didn't want to assume, but, when people come in here and say trade Russ, trade AD, it's usually LeBron fans who say that, and, that's just a fact. That's just a fact. What did AD do before joining LeBron? What did AD have on the Pelicans? What did he have in New Orleans? Seriously. I mean, I'm really starting to question if you even watched AD on the Pelicans. He didn't have anybody on the Pelicans. And then you have to think about what he had to face in the playoffs. He had to burst Steph, Draymond, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, that Golden State team with the Pelicans? And you expect him to do something with the Pelicans? See that right there is when, why people don't have respect for LeBron fans. That right there is why people don't like. A lot of the reason why LeBron gets hate is because his fans are like this. I'm not saying you're like that, but these are the kind of questions that LeBron fans ask that just piss people off. Gigi says, let me introduce you to Drew. Think you guys have a lot in common at life. Facts. They do. Gigi, you are 100% right with that. And I'm surprised Drew has not come through. The Warriors beat the Suns on Christmas, right? Obviously. And he was talking so much smack about the Suns, right? So we'll see exactly what happens. I don't think he's going to come back, to be honest with you. Don't think he's going to come back. Okay, see, this is the thing. Life is for the living 20. AD had Demarcus Cousins. Yeah, you do know he tore his Achilles, right? So you keep saying he had Demarcus Cousins, but he tore his Achilles. And Drew Holiday, it's Drew Holiday. J-R-U-E, not Drew Holiday. So if you can't even spell his name right, then how do you even know? I mean, Drew Holiday was solid, but you really expect AD to do something with that team against a prime Golden State team? Look at it from a logical point of view at life. Seriously. Because what did LeBron do against Golden State? He had Kyrie, Kevin Love, amazing supporting cast, right? He won one time against Golden State. You take away Kyrie and Kevin Love, which he did not have in a couple of seasons, and he didn't beat Golden State. Are you going to hold that against him? Because AD didn't really have much in New Orleans. Let's just face it, New Orleans does not know how to build a team around a star. So Drew Holiday isn't a good player. Man, the guy made the playoffs twice in like 8 years. Drew Holiday's a solid player. I never said he was a bad player. Don't put words in my mouth, man. I never said Drew Holiday was a bad player. I said he was a good player. But it's going to take much more than just Drew Holiday to get past that Warrior team. So, I'm just telling you now, man, this is why people don't like LeBron fans. LeBron made the finals. AD made the playoffs twice in 8 years. Yeah, I think if you put LeBron on that trash Pelicans team, he's not winning that amount of championships. But, I'm going to disregard everything you're saying because ultimately, your argument is just simply not valid. Talking about how AD did nothing before LeBron and, LeBron did stuff and it's just, no, I'm not gonna sit here for it because ultimately wasting time with LeBron fans like that. It's just you're gonna keep arguing till the day you die. You just cannot win an argument against them because they are never willing to admit when they're wrong. That's the thing. Keep on talking about how AD. See, what did LeBron do on the Lakers before AD? How about that? You keep talking about what did AD do before LeBron. What did LeBron do before AD on the Lakers? LeBron went to the finals with bums in Cleveland. He didn't. He won one playoff series. No, bro, I know more basketball than you. Okay? Then make a channel, bro. Make a channel and let's see how much basketball you know. Because the way you're talking right now seems like you don't know basketball. I need Drew in this chat. Gigi, are you here? I need Drew in this chat. Gigi says LeBron stands are annoying. I agree with you. That's why LeBron gets a lot of hates because of his fans. LeBron won 3 chips, bro. Without LeBron, the Lakers wouldn't even have a chip. Bro, do you want to kiss LeBron any more than what you're doing? I asked you a question and you completely dodged it. What did LeBron do on the Lakers before AD came? Answer that question. Answer that question. Because you keep on making these statements and you keep on dodging my questions. Simply, you're not willing to admit that LeBron did literally nothing without AD on the Lakers. So, yeah, whatever you want to say. You forgot he was hurt. Oh, now it's that he was hurt. Okay, was he going to win a chip that year if he wasn't hurt? Oh, Lord. Hey, yeah. Set a trap, change your name to Steph Curry all day for a second. Well, he would definitely come through if I did that, huh? Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know. It's all good, all good. But life is for the living 20. You can continue saying whatever you want. Typing in caps is not going to help you win an argument. So you can keep commenting. Commenting's cool. But I think the people in the chat know that you're just being a little much right now. Gigi says, let me be petty. Go for it, bro. But yeah. See, that's why a lot of people don't like LeBron fans. That's why some people don't like playing with LeBron, including someone like Kyrie Irving. Because whenever you win a championship with LeBron, it's always because, it's just because of LeBron. But if you lose with LeBron, then it's your fault. That's a toxic atmosphere to be in. Gigi here says MJ is better than LeBron. Hey, life is for the living's not going to like that comment. Let's see if he takes that bait. I don't know. I'm just waiting for it, honestly. I mean, this is just comedic to just see him taking the bait. Bro, you're losing. You literally said Westbrook has a good mid-range, which is a lie. You said Russell Westbrook plays good off the ball. That's a lie. You make up things as you go. You don't watch the games, bro. I'm convinced you just look at stats because that's what LeBron fans do. Gigi says Kobe's better than LeBron. 100% agree with you. Kobe is better than LeBron. Bush King said, I said in the beginning, no more excuses. Just play defense and then they will win. I 100% agree with you, Bush King. You know, they just got to play defense. And I think their offense is there. I think they've been making improvements on the offensive end, right? Especially in the half court set, Bush. If they can just improve that defensive intensity, like we've seen it in spurts, right? But the Lakers need to really get that consistency with the defensive intensity. And I do believe they'll start winning games. So I agree with your statement, Bush. Life is for the living 20 says, go James with an muscle emoji. You know what's funny is like, Sonny says, what I miss. A LeBron stan is in here. I don't know if you're able to read the comments, previous comments. You can just go ahead and read them. Life is for the living 20. I'm convinced he's like a kid or something because, I know like little kids, right? They'll try typing in caps when they're arguing and it thinks that they're making more of a statement. It doesn't make your argument more valid than typing in undercase. You know you're allowed to type in undercase, right? And simply when I see people just making an argument based off of stats, then I know you literally know nothing about basketball. But go ahead and keep commenting about, oh, this person has better stats. The stats say this, the stats say that. If you want to go stats, like Sonny said, Wilt Chamberlain's the GOAT, because last time I checked, none of these players have ever averaged 50 points a game. None of these players have ever averaged 32 rebounds a game. Speak about my points I just made. Simply you were not speaking on the points I made. You just dodged the questions I had for you. Stats are an accumulation of what you do on the court, dummy. Cool. Cool. I know, Sonny. Don't give energy to this troll. I'm just chilling. Merry Christmas to you. Life is for the living. There are 8 people in this chat. What do you think's up with this, man? Oh my god! Drew is back! Gigi? Drew is back. You know what, Drew? I'll give your Warriors a lot of credit. They played an extremely good basketball game. And you know what, Drew? I'll give you props, man. You said the Warriors were going to beat the Suns. I'll give you props on that. And I will tell you, there's a guy in here, Life is for the Living. Talk about how the Warriors beat LeBron for me for a sec. I want to see y'all go at it because this is just, this is just comical. This is fun to watch. I'm just sitting here drinking my hot chocolate, and these two can go at it, Please. Drew says, I really appreciate it. Gary Payne II, let's go. Yep. Bush says, 5 in a row. Save the king. Play defense, watching the highlights, breaking down the D not looking good. I agree with you. The defense needs to get better. Rose, I don't know what you just said. Gigi says Curry stand versus LeBron stand. Dude, I'm all here for it, Gigi. Like those boxing rounds, like we should just be watching who's going to win, Curry stand or LeBron stand. Man. I respect both players so much. Sonny says I'm a Kobe stan. I am as well. And a Lakers stan. Yep. if you haven't joined, Drew, I put the link in the description for the Stanley Stan. um, so I know there's some new people who joined the stream. This is the Discord page. Y'all can go ahead and join it. Life is for the living says, why is LeBron better at literally everything than Kobe? I'm not even going to bother wasting my breath on that. Bush King says, watch the highlights and lowlights, see for yourself an analysis of the defense. Oh, we get it. The defense is not amazing, Bush. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you know, that Discord I just put, y'all can comment down anytime in that Discord. We talk about anything. There's a few people in there, right? It looks like someone just joined. Unknown Rock, whoever that is. The numbers just prove it. Rip Kobe. But yeah, let's see. I want to know what your opinion is. Life is for the living 20. How far do you think the Lakers can go with LeBron carrying them, supposedly? I'm curious to know your opinion. Come on, 7 people in here. Let's get some comments in here. Let's see what's up. Because we always get a few people that just stay quiet, which is cool. But, you know, I mean, we're having a good time in here. We're seeing a Curry stan versus a LeBron stan. You know what I mean? So let's get some more comments in here. It's fun to watch. This is comedy. This is must-see TV. Who wouldn't want to see Oreo McFlurry says, who wouldn't want to see a Suns-Lakers rematch in the playoffs? I do want to see a Suns-Lakers rematch. You know, ultimately, Oreo McFlurry, this reminds me of, you know, Kobe in 06-07 versus the Suns. I love the rivalry that they used to have. I want to see that rematch. Life is for the longs at first round out if AD doesn't come back. I thought LeBron was the GOAT. I thought you said LeBron can do anything and all this other stuff. So with or without, and you said AD couldn't do anything with LeBron. So LeBron shouldn't need AD, right? They should not need AD, right? You literally said AD didn't do anything without him. And LeBron's the GOAT. So he should go further than the first round if AD's there or not. Since you love LeBron so much. Cristiano Felicio's the GOAT. 100% agree. Life is for the living says, I would dip if I was LeBron. Go to the Nuggets or Mavs. See, that's why it's a good thing you're not LeBron. It's because going to the Nuggets or Mavs would be the dumbest thing he could probably do. How is he going to recruit people to Denver? The heck? Sonny says the Suns are the luckiest team in the league. League is being ravaged by COVID protocols and injuries, and they are unscathed. I do agree with that to a certain extent. They're literally not getting anything. You know. Life is for the living says, how far did Jordan go without Pippen? Oh, here we go. See, I love how LeBron fans, they bring up, oh, Jordan lost in the first round. LeBron hasn't lost in the first round normally in his career. But they forget to mention the competition that Jordan had to play in the first round as opposed to LeBron in the first round. While LeBron got to beat the Bobcats and the Wizards in the first round, Michael Jordan had to play against Larry Bird and the Celtics in the first round. He had to play against the bad boy Pistons in the first round. So you keep on mentioning how, like, what Jordan didn't do without Pippen, but you're basically contradicting your own point. Jeremy Grant for AD. How willing would you be able to do that? No. Oreo McFlurry, I would not make that deal. Sonny says, how far did LeBron go without Wade and Kyrie? You just said it yourself. It's a team sport. 100% agree with you, Sonny. Bush King said, not Russ. He a triple-double cyborg, built like a brick wall and fast-check other players. I think there was like you want to talk about a stat. There was a stat that Kobe played the most 50-win teams in the playoffs. Then Jordan, then LeBron was way down there. He's only beaten like 10 or 9 teams with 50-plus wins. And Kobe has been like almost 30, you know? So just to go show about the competition. I never made those points. My point just killed yours. Yours talking about LeBron needs help, but Jordan did too. Um, Everyone needs a team. So when you say what did AD do in New Orleans, I'm like, well, did he have much of a team to begin with? You think about the Warriors, what they used to have with KD. I mean, can you even blame AD for not being able to get past that Golden State team? Oriel McFlurry says if the Lakers seeing the Warriors or Suns, they're gonna get run off the court from how fast they play. Those teams can only really run. Lakers' best bet is to see a team like Denver. See, what's interesting about that point, Oriel McFlurry, is that the Lakers, I believe, are a top 10, top 5 team in pace. So they do run the ball really, really well. It's just a matter of getting their defense together. If they can get their defense together and get healthy, then ultimately I do believe there may be a certain point in the season where they will be able to compete in the playoffs. Sonny says Lakers not making the playoffs. I disagree with you on that, especially with the play-in tournament giving these teams more flexibility. I don't see a way that the Lakers don't make the playoffs with Russ, LeBron, and AD. No way. No way. Just gotta wait and see, right? Just gotta wait and see. I just realized I have 99 subscribers, one away from 100. Who was that one guy in the chat? A couple streams ago, they said I was gonna get to 100 by the end of this week. Whoever you are, you're clutch, and you're probably gonna be right. Got to give you your props. Sonny says if they do make the playoffs, they're getting owned in the first round by the first or second seed. I also disagree with that statement because Paul George is going to be out probably for a good amount of the time. That gives the Lakers more opportunities to prevent themselves from being a 7-8 seed, right? Denver, how are they going to be? The Lakers, ultimately, they're becoming more healthy. They're getting players back from COVID. And once they get that chemistry going again, they're not going to be the 7 or 8 seed. I'm willing to guarantee it. But where's Drew? He made like a one comment or two, and then he just disappeared. Drew, where are you at? You're like a fan favorite, bro. We as much as we had a fun time clowning you. Still a great guy. Jonathan says, just listening in for the first time as a Nets fan, love your work, keep it going, but come on, you're not upset, Lakers fan. Got to be harder on your team or else they won't be pressured to get better. Jonathan, since it is your first time on the stream, if you look back on my previous videos or previous stream, I did call this Laker team trash, right? I was upset because of the lack of effort, but the reason why I'm not upset as much this time around is because of the fact that they did play with more effort, right? They were down 23 points in the fourth quarter, and they had an opportunity to win it. So ultimately, I'm not too upset like I was the other games. But I do appreciate your input. I do appreciate you coming through in the stream. Hopefully you stick by, and yeah, glad you're enjoying it. Life is for the living. Buddy Hield, Demarcus Cousins, Drew Holiday, Tariq Evans, Lance Stevenson. He had enough. He went 20, 35, and 48, bro. You lose. Okay, first of all, you can't even spell Tariq Evans' name right. And it's not possible for a team to go 35 and 48 because they're 82 games in the season and not 83. So you better, there's already so many flaws with your argument. So I'm not even going to respond to that. Let's see what else. Lucky Big says, I'm lucky I'm back. Okay. Sonny says that Jonathan, I think we're overly harsh sometimes, but what can we say? They kind of suck right now. We're still getting players back from COVID and injury. 100%. I mean, maybe I was overly harsh on them a couple of games ago when I said the season was over. I don't know if that was just based off of emotion or whatever the case was, but I will say that we are harsh on them a lot. So yeah. But let's see here because I know I'm still waiting on Drew because Drew came through. First of all, I didn't ever think he was coming back because I don't know if he subscribed or not. And genuinely, when people don't subscribe, they don't come back unless you're like a really, really big YouTuber, and I am not that. So, He came back, he made a comment, but where is Drew? I want Drew. We should start a petition for Drew to come through every single time. But yeah. 34 and 48. You can add to 82 finally. That's good. Let's see here. What other comments we got going on, guys? We are Drew stands. Yes, we are Drew stands. Life's for the Living said, dude's talking about spelling, bro. I'm typing fast. We can go back and forth forever. I forgot more basketball than you know. Huh? I forgot more basketball than you know? Okay. That's cool. I'm willing to know. I'm curious to know how much basketball you actually know, other than just blaming LeBron's teammates for everything and literally hugging LeBron every moment you get. There's probably more things you do regarding LeBron, but I'm not going to sit here and say it because it's probably not PG to say on a stream. I think we all know that. Life for the Living 20 says, who would you blame for the loss? I would blame the entirety of the team in terms of our defensive effort. Our defense simply was not there. So, in that sense, I do blame a good majority of the team. Life for the Living says, let me guess, LeBron. See, if you actually watch the stream and listen to what I said, I had no complaints about LeBron at all. So maybe you should stop typing in caps, listening with your ears, because listening with your ears goes a long way. Gigi says 5, Brian Scalabrine. 4, Benny the Bull. 3, Derrick Rose. 2, Kobe Bryant. And 1, Michael Jordan. I love that list. I absolutely love that list. Let's see. Hold up for a second. Okay. But no, I am not blaming LeBron. Life is for the Living 20 to answer your question. You think I would, but see, you would know that if you just listened. Life is for a Living 20 says, bro, all that talking is because you on the net. Let's be real. No, whatever I say, I'm genuine with it. It's just personally, whatever. Top 5 right now, see if you know bats. Can you even spell? And why are you typing in caps? Yeah, my top 5 would be Kwame Brown, Brian Scalabrine, Smush Parker, Anthony Bennett, and Greg Oden. That's my top 5. I gave you my 5. I think he wants your 5. Yeah, I just gave my 5, right? But yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on the stream for, because like I mentioned before, it is Christmas. So I probably will plan on ending the stream sometime relatively soon. Like I mentioned earlier, every game, after every Laker game, I'll be going on stream, YouTube stream, posting recap videos, whatever the case is. I'll be putting out other content as well, so you can stick around for that. But yeah, let's see any maybe last minute comments y'all want to toss out there before I end the stream. Once again, Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope you guys are having a great one. Had a great holiday season. Hopefully it's filled with joy. That's not a bad top 5. Life is for the Living. Not a bad top 5. It's probably like one of the smartest things you've said in the chat, or the only smart thing you've said in the chat. Yeah, I don't know if that's in order or not, but if it's that, and if it's not in that specific order, I'm okay with that. But we'll see. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I'll go ahead and toss in my Discord link in the description of my recap videos. Whatever the case is, I'll be doing it for all my videos, and I've also tossed in the live stream a couple of times because we are getting some people in here sometimes here with us. So there it is once again. I'm putting it in my recap videos in case you weren't able to get to it or whatever the case was. And let's see here. Any other questions or anything y'all want to say? Go ahead and say it now. Only one that might flip is LeBron and KD. That's interesting. You think Giannis is the best player? Just gotta wait and see. Let us see. Offensively and defensively. Yeah, maybe. But that's all for this stream, man. I mean, it's already been going on for over an hour. Merry Christmas to everyone in this stream, regardless if you're a LeBron stan or a Curry stan or whatever the case is. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you guys for the next stream. All right, guys. Peace out and have a good night.